In this video, we're going to talk about where you can find some funding opportunities for a social enterprise organization. So a couple of videos ago, I talked about what exactly is a social enterprise, how is this organization that kind of marries the concepts of the nonprofit world and the for-profit business world together. Basically, you can be a nonprofit or a for-profit business and be a social enterprise. You can be either one, and that's because a social enterprise is just a revenue or business model where you use a market-driven approach to solve a social issue. And a market-driven approach just means like selling goods or services like a business would, but the way you're doing it and the products and services you're selling also make an impact in the world. So if you like the sound of this, if you like the idea of starting specifically a social enterprise, whether you're going to do it as a nonprofit organization or a for-profit business, you might be wondering, how can you find some startup funding to get it off the ground? So that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. What are some potential funding sources out there that are specifically designed with social enterprise organizations in mind? My name is Amber Melanie Smith, and I'm a nonprofit founder and executive director and lover of all things social impact related. And so I started this YouTube channel to share all of my knowledge, my mistakes, the things I've learned, the resources I've found with others with a heart for making a difference in the world. Let's get right into the topic here. If you are interested in learning more about what a social enterprise organization is and how it works, definitely be sure to check out my other video called Should You Start a Nonprofit or a Social Enterprise? But just to reiterate one more time, a social enterprise is a business or revenue model that aims to solve a social problem through a market-driven approach like selling goods or services. There are lots of great examples of social entrepreneurship and social enterprise organizations out there. One of them, and I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, is Aravind Eye Care. They are a social enterprise business in India, and they provide eye care services, but not like what you would think of as a normal eye care doctor or eye care services business. Instead, people only pay what they can afford for the eye care. So that way, they're solving a social problem, which would be a lack of affordable eye care in this area, through a market-driven approach, selling the services of eye care, but in a way that everyone can afford, so they are serving the most vulnerable populations out there. So if you're interested in trying to solve or address a social problem through a business-like structure and you are not Bill Gates or Bruce Wayne, you might need some funding opportunities to help you invest in some of the critical things you're going to need to get this thing off the ground and scale it quickly. Things like technology or software development or staff or research or marketing and advertising. The list goes on. The good news is there are some people and organizations out there who specifically have an interest in funding what you would call social enterprise organizations. And that is because they believe so much in the social enterprise model's ability to tackle a social issue while also remaining financially viable and sustainable throughout. So now I'm going to share 7 potential sources of funding, whether that's grants or investment loans or other types of support, to start up or grow your social enterprise organization. So if you're interested in these, definitely do your research, check them out, and if you're a good fit, maybe consider throwing in an application. The first source is Echoing Green. These guys have been around for a while. I've even applied for, I'll admit unsuccessfully, grants from Echoing Green a long time ago when I was first starting out. It was a great lesson learned as to how to not write a grant application, a story for another time. Anyway, they have their Echoing Green fellowships where it's very competitive, but they accept a small number of new or growing startup social enterprise entrepreneurs who just need a little bit of extra investment to get to the next level of their work. And they take this group and they provide funding, they provide some salary support, and they also provide some helpful resources and mentorship and other opportunities for these entrepreneurs. Echoing Green does provide support to both nonprofit and for-profit types of social enterprise organizations, but it's important to note that For the nonprofit social enterprise organizations, the funding comes in the form of a grant that does not have to be repaid. And for the for-profit types of social enterprises, it comes in an investment loan, which does have to be repaid. Echoing Green's application is due once every year so far, so definitely keep your eye on their website to see if that's something that you would be interested in and a good fit to apply for. The second resource is Ashoka Fellows. Similar to Echoing Green, this is going to be a fellowship program where it's pretty competitive, but they want to hear about the most compelling and greatest potential organizations that are out there really tackling a large social issue. The major difference between Echoing Green and Ashoka is that Echoing Green has an open application and anyone can apply, but for Ashoka, you have to be recommended by someone else in the sphere of social impact. So someone with credibility who can make a good recommendation and say, hey, this guy over here is making a big difference in the world. You should really check them out. So once someone is recommended for Ashoka Fellows, the team over there vets them and they say, here's what they're looking for. They say they're looking for creative, ethical people with innovative, groundbreaking ideas. Oh, bless you, my dog just sneezed. Groundbreaking ideas to change the world. So I will leave some information about them and how to apply. Goodness gracious, are you okay, puppy? And how to apply for their support below in my description. The third resource that you might want to check out is the Acumen Fund, and this is a global organization that I'm pretty sure focuses primarily on the for-profit business side of social enterprise organizations, and they also have a very special focus. They're looking for entrepreneurs who are focused on helping bring people up out of poverty. So that is an issue area that they focus on and would expect their social enterprise investments to invest in as well. So the next resource I'm going to talk about is the Kaplan Foundation, and these folks are a little bit different because rather than have a fellowship or invest directly into an entrepreneur, they actually fund and provide grants for other organizations, usually nonprofits across the country in the United States, who are working to support these entrepreneurs. And maybe those smaller organizations are offering up grants or fellowships or other types of support, but the Kaplan Foundation isn't the one who does it directly. So to figure out how to get support from one of the nonprofits that has received dollars from the Kaplan Foundation, check out the link in my description and check out, they have this list of organizations that they are funding. And if there's one in your city, you might be able to reach out to them to see if you would be a good fit for their support in your community. The next resource is the Skoll Awards. And what differentiates this source of support is that they're looking for entrepreneurs who are already a little bit into their work. So this is probably less appropriate for startups and more for those who've had some years to prove their model and make an impact in their communities or in their country. Now they say that they are investing in change agents whose innovations disrupt the status quo, and they aim to accelerate their progress towards impact at scale. So at this point in your journey, you've had a theory about what's going to work to make an impact. You've tried it out. You've already gotten your own funding together to at least kick things off. You've tested the model. It has seen some promising results. And then you can get nominated for and apply for this award. And if you get it, the prize is actually quite significant. They're saying here that they do a $1.5 million investment because what they want to do at this point for you is take your amazing, promising idea and grow it really fast. So they're going to make a big investment in you once you've been able to prove your model. Like a couple of the others that I've talked about, they also focus on specific issue areas. Specifically, they say that they're focusing on environmental sustainability, education, economic opportunity, health, peace and human rights, and sustainable markets. The sixth resource I'm going to talk about is Kiva, and if you've watched some of my other videos, you know I'm a big fan of this organization. They are a nonprofit that provides repayable loans to people all over the world who want to grow their business so that they can pull themselves up out of poverty. But what's really interesting is they just recently launched a program to also help fund social enterprise organizations. So these are loans, and they They say that they range from about $10,000 to about $50,000 over an 18-month term, so keep that in mind. And also, in order to be eligible, you have to have a proven and tested social impact model. So we're hearing a lot of that in these things, so just keep that in mind too, that you got to have a way of evaluating your success and showing and demonstrating that success, that you're making a big impact in the world already. For Kiva, to a smaller degree than the Skoll Awards. The other criteria Kiva has is that to be eligible, you have to be one of their approved Kiva partners. So they have some information on their website about what that means, what the eligibility requirements are to become a Kiva partner. So check that out, and you can start taking those steps now if you think that you're going to be a good fit for them when it's time. The seventh source is this new trend we're seeing called impact investors. And these are what you might think of as normal business investors, except they have a special interest in funding and supporting businesses that are addressing a social problem. Once again, these are loans, not grants, so they will have to be repaid, but that initial infusion of resources can help your business scale faster than it would have been able to before. So a few examples of impact investors. We've got the Tin Shed Ventures. This is Patagonia's venture capital fund. So they're investing in businesses that are specifically tackling environmental issues. Another example is Reach Capital. This is a firm that is particularly interested in investing in social enterprises that are tackling education issues. We've got Better Ventures. They are focused on investing in technology social enterprise startups that all have an aim of helping reach some of the UN's Sustainable Development Goals. I'll leave a link in my description below for these sites and also some other resources where you can research additional potential investors and sources for support for social enterprise startups and organizations that are growing. I also want to say, if none of these are a good fit for you, or you haven't gotten to the point where you might be competitive for them, you can also go without funding. It is an option. You'll maybe scale slower and just be able to make a difference piece by piece, but that's how a difference gets made, is one person, one community at a time. So don't give up hope if this is not the right fit for you. You can definitely get started without this huge infusion of support. Many, probably most organizations do anyway. I talk extensively in some of my other videos about how to build up an audience of supporters and a base of donors over time, and that's something you can do starting with zero. And finally, just a quick word about how you might go about making yourself competitive for one of these programs. Like with any venture, business, nonprofit, social enterprise, any of them, you really want to have a solid business plan before you get started, thinking through what is the impact you want to make, what are the activities you're going to do to make that impact, and how are you going to pay for it all? How are you going to generate revenue, get funding support in order to cover the costs of making that impact? You also want to pilot test it and grow it at the ground level as much as you can, and also set up mechanisms to track your results. So how has the community changed as a result of your program activities, and changed for the better? You want to be able to track that, evaluate it, and demonstrate it. Finally, whenever possible, and this is advice I give for all situations, is collect stories along the way. Talk to the people you're helping, see if they'll give you permission to share their story. These will add special, inspiring, and compelling components to a fundraising pitch or a grant application, or any other type of social media or marketing that you might do for your social enterprise or nonprofit. So now I want to hear from you. Are you thinking about starting a social enterprise organization, whether it's nonprofit or for-profit, some kind of entity that will make a difference through a market-driven approach? Share in the comments below. What is your idea? What stage are you at? What's working? What isn't? We'd love to hear from you. I really hope this helped you out. Once again, I'm Amber Melanie Smith. As promised, I will leave some of the links to those sources that I talked about in the description below my video here on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, share with your friends, all that good stuff. And final thought, if you are on Facebook, check out my group, Change the World or Bust. We've got lots of people in there, change makers like yourselves, like me, who want to make a difference and are looking for encouragement and advice along the way. Come check us out over there, and I hope to see you next time.